The first thing you're going to want to do is gather up your material, so that will be something to separate each set of yarn. That could be this tote bag, this is what I use, or 3 plastic bags, which I will show you what that looks like in a second. You're going to need your tapestry needle, your 9mm crochet hook, and your scissors. Here we have the 3 plastic bags. Now this is gonna work just as fine as the tote bag. This is what I actually used to use before I got the bag, so if you do not have one, again, it is completely fine. This will do just as well. I am using a stonewash color for this blanket, and normally I would use a solid color, but I wanted to show you that it is possible to do it with a multicolor skein. You just have to watch out for one thing, and that's that the lightest color in the skein, so in this case it's this light purple here, but the lightest color does not match the white. So these are going to be paired together, and you are going to see it mainly when you are doing your character. And so if the lightest color in this multicolor skein matches the white or whatever color you're using as your other color, it will drown it out and the details will get lost in it. So that's just something to keep in mind when you are purchasing your yarn. To make our sets, we're first going to grab the 2 main colors, and then we are going to find the side where it's going to pull out straight from the center. So that would be this side here. And then we're going to go to the other side, and we can see that they have put the end right into that center piece. So we are going to take it out and we are going to wrap it around and tuck it into the wrapper so that it doesn't get tangled up as we're pulling through. So just like this. Now we're going to go ahead and set that aside and do the same thing with this one here. Now we're going to repeat that process with the white. So here is the set of white. We are going to come over here, and this end is actually the tail end of it, so we are going to tuck that part into the wrapper. We're going to come to this side and find that one, so there that is, and then we are going to do the same one with this white to complete our set of white. Lastly, we're going to grab 1 white and 1 of the main color, and then we are going to get these ones ready the exact same way we just got the other 2 sets ready, and then we will be ready to begin. Here we have our bag all set up, and so what this is going to do is it's going to help us keep our sets together but separate from each other. So here we have our set of main colors, our white, and our set of mixed colors. And so a bag like this is just really going to help everything stay organized and going as smoothly as possible. If you do not have your tote bag, this is how you would set up the plastic bags. So I'm just using Hobby Lobby bags, as you can see here, but you just want to pull out each one of the sets of yarn, the ends of it, and then separate those out. And then once you're done, you just tie them up and you are good to go. This is what the bags will look like once they're all tied up, just for reference. I want to show you how to switch colors. So I'll be using this example here. And it says, say your pattern calls for 5 stitches of one color, and then it instructs you to change to the next color. So we are going to single crochet 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But here we're going to stop halfway, keep these 2 loops on the hook, and we are going to switch to our next color and finish this stitch off with that next color. So in this case it's white, and now we're going to do 5 in the white. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then stop halfway, put the white down, finish off with your next color. So we'll pull that through and then do 5 in the purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now we're going to chain 2, turn, and I'm going to show you what it's going to look like if you do not do this process. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and here we're going to finish off with the same color. Pick up our white and then do 5 in the white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Finish it off there and then pick up our next color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now if we're to look at it, we are going to see that it is all slanted. It's all thrown off, and that's because this top stitch here isn't aligning where it should be. It should be back here, and instead it's forward. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done the right way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to stop halfway, pick up our next color, and then finish it off with that white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stop halfway, pick up our next color, finish it off with that, and then do our next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now if we're to look at it, we will see that everything is straight. It's all lining up where it should be. These top stitches and bottom stitches all are lining up. So these are the same color here, and these are the same color, and that's what we want. We want these two to line up and these two to line up. So if you go ahead and switch colors the proper way, then it will turn out correctly. If you do not, then everything will be thrown off and you will not get the right end result. The next thing I want to go over is how to read the graph. So if we look here, we'll see that there are red numbers and that there are black numbers. Now, all that this means is that you are either on an odd row or an even row. So the red numbers are an odd row and the black numbers are an even row. So if we were to go here and we were just to put our paper down and see that these are all in red, we would be able to know at a quick glance that we are on an odd row, and the same for the black numbers in the even rows. Now the numbers on the side here, those are going to tell you what row you are on the graph. So here we have row 1, and then row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, and row 6, and so on and so forth. And the next thing that I want to go over is we read these patterns from left to right when you are on an odd row, and right to left when you are on an even row. And so you follow that whole pattern the entire time you are working with these patterns. For example, if we were to look here at row 1, we are going to read it 1 through 31. And then we're going to go to row 2 and read it 1 through 6, change colors, 1 through 4, change colors, 1 through 10, change colors, and then so on and so forth. Then we're going to come to row 3 and read that from left to right. Okay, so that would be 1 through 5, 1 through 8, 1 through 7, and you're just going to continue that on all the way up. What that's going to look like is reading row 1 from left to right, and then row 2 we're going to read right to left. Do our 31 in the mixed colors, and then go from here on row 2 from right to left, chain 2, turn, and then on row 3 we're going to read from left to right, do our 31 in our mixed colors, and then left to right again. We are now ready to start crocheting, so I am going to grab all of my pieces to this blanket. I am using a rose, a daisy, and the letter A. And so I'm going to be putting this letter A on the bottom right hand corner, and then I'm going to be doing the daisy in the center, and then the rose on the bottom left hand corner and the top. So that's just a quick map out in my head what I'm going to be doing. Now we are going to chain 103 with our set of mixed colors. So we are just going to pull those two strands and make sure that they are as even as possible. Wrap them around our two fingers. Put the long piece through the center of that circle we just made. And then we're just going to put our hook in and pull those strands right through the center. So now we are going to do 103, and I will see you at the end of that. I just finished the chain of 103, and so now we are going to add our other 4 strands of yarn right here. So we are just going to grab them, and I like to make them even. You don't have to do this, it's just something that I like to do. But we will go ahead and grab the 4 strands right here, and we are going to place them on top of the chain. So we are going to place them right on top, and we are going to grab the strands we are working with and place them behind those strands. So I'm going to pick up the strands we're working with, and I'm going to have all those ends just sticking right off the work like that. Now we are going to go into the 3rd stitch from the hook, so right there, and we are going to catch all of these strands into this first single crochet. So now they are placed there, and we have all of these strands hanging off the opposite end of where we are going. So now we are going to grab them and place them behind that first single crochet and on top of our chain. And we are just going to catch them all in the center of each single crochet that we do. As we come up to the point where we can see these ends, we are going to actually separate them out from the rest of the work. So I'm going to just pull them out and place them right behind so that we can go ahead and snip them on our way back on row 2. So we'll grab them all and just get them out of the way. And that way they are easy to snip, and we are not having to look for them or having them fall out later on and them just being in the way. So that's why we like to just find them when they're easy to find and clip them so that they are not a problem. Now we are going to go ahead and put a single crochet in each one of the stitches. And keep in mind that this is probably going to feel very awkward. This is most likely going to be the most difficult row of the entire project just because of how awkward it feels. So if you are experiencing that, it is totally fine and normal, and it does get easier and easier to handle. So it's going to be okay. Now, if you can see, it's starting to twist up a bit, and that's because our tension is getting a little tight. So we are going to just slightly pull on it to loosen everything up. And we're going to want to keep this in mind throughout the whole project to just make sure that our tension is all the same. Working with multiple strands, it can kind of get a little funky, but this will help that. We are now coming up to the end of row 1. So we are just going to finish this off, and here would be a good place to make sure that you have 101 stitches to make sure that the patterns will all work. But we are going to chain 2 and turn. We want to make sure that we are carrying our strands of yarn with us and that we are putting them in the front of our work now. So we don't want them behind, because if we put them behind, we are going to have a lot of pieces that are sticking out. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. We don't want to pull it behind the work, but real quick, I do want to touch base on these. These are the tail ends we are going to leave out. We are not going to carry them with us, because them being on the right hand side or the left hand side will tell us if we are on an odd row or an even row. So now, if you could see, this is where we have no tail ends. And this is where we do have a tail end. So we can tell that we are going to be on an even row, which is row 2. So now I'm just going to demonstrate what it would look like if we carried that yarn behind the work. So we are just going to do a few here, and you'll see it's kind of hard to control too. but let's see, you can kind of see, we'll keep going a little bit more. Oops, I got a little bit tangled up. So just keep going, and you can tell I am not used to this at all, but we are going to go ahead and check it out. So you can see that there are these few pieces, they're uneven, they're not laying right, and there we go, there's one. But if we were to continue this on, we would have a whole bunch of this, and some it would be a lot more where it would stick out. So we just don't do that. We are going to carry these strands in the front with us, and that is going to make our lives a lot easier. So we just pull them in the front and we go on just like that. And if you can see, these two sets are kind of getting tangled up together. And so what we're going to do in this situation is we are just going to separate them and push that twist as close to the hook as we can without them getting bunched up. And so we are going to get it right here, and we are going to lay it down right on our work and catch those in the center of each single crochet. And tip number 3 on the written pattern talks about keeping your yarn stacked. And so what I mean by that is we can see here that this purple is on the far left hand side of the bag, and this white is in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this purple on the bottom, and we're going to try and keep this white in the middle. And I am going to get these tail ends out of the way, but I want to try and keep this purple on the bottom the whole time and the white in the middle the whole time. And so we are going to stack them on top of each other, and this hopefully avoid this. But just know that twisting is very inevitable in this project. It's gonna happen. You just have to kind of know how to fix it throughout the whole way, which it's really not that difficult. This is how you fix it, but it's just something to keep in mind. And another thing to keep in mind is that during this process where we are not switching back and forth, where we are using just this one color, it's not going to matter a whole lot. We aren't going to be needing to do this, but it is a good practice so that it doesn't make everything a nightmare. But as we're working on this one section where we're not switching back and forth, like I said, it's not going to matter, but it's just good practice to go ahead and make sure that your yarn is stacked and that nothing is getting twisted or tangled up, because it will make your life a lot easier when you get to the point where you are switching colors. So now I'm just going to finish row 2, and I will meet you at the end so we could do row 3. We are coming up to the end of row 2, so we are just going to finish this off. And then we are going to chain 2, but before we turn, we are going to cut these pieces off because we do not need them. So we're just going to trim them off, and then we are going to hide those in there, and then we can turn. And so now we are just going to do the same thing that we've done for row 1 and 2, and then I will meet you on row 4 where we have our first changes happening. We are now coming up to the end of row 3, and like I said, it might happen. We have some twist going on, so these two sets here got twisted up. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to separate them out and pull them together so that they make an even tighter twist, and we are going to line that up with the rest of the row that we have going on here, and then we are going to put that on top of the row, separate those, keep them separated, and then we are going to single crochet over that twist so that we are ready to go for the next row where we have to switch colors. So now we're finishing that out. We are going to chain 2, turn, And here we are on row 4. So we are going to single crochet into the next 3 with our mixed colors. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we are going to switch colors. We're going to put that down, pick this one up, our white, and we are going to finish off that 3rd stitch with the white. And now we are going to single crochet 95 in our white to create a frame effect. Now the way that we stack the colors is going to be a little bit different. So we have our mixed colors here on this side, the right hand side, and we have our purple here. So that's going to stay in the same spot, and now we're going to replace the white being on top with the mixed colors. And so we are going to try and keep them stacked this way to prevent the tangling, and we are going to go all the way to the end where we will do the rest of the 95 in the white and then the 3 in the mixed colors. You may start to notice that your work is pulling in a little bit, and that's okay. All that means is that your tension is off. So what we do to fix that is we just pull on it to flatten it out, and that's going to help it stay square right here. Here we are finishing up the last of the 95, but before I do, I want to make sure that it's not curving in, which it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull on it to flatten it out. And so now I'm going to go ahead and finish off this 95th stitch with the next color, which is this set right here of mixed colors. So we're going to pull that through to finish it off, and then single crochet 3 in this color. So 1, 2, and 3. We are going to chain 2 and turn. So here is where it's going to be very important that you had 101 stitches on that first row after your chain, because since these patterns are numbered, you are going to need the exact amount of stitches to go into to make sure that your letters or your characters are coming out right. So being on row 5 here, we are going to go ahead and single crochet 3 in our mixed colors. But notice here we have no tail end, which is another way to just remind us that we are on an odd row, so row 5. And we are going to go ahead and finish these 3 off. So there we go. And we are going to do 1 in our white. So we finish off that 3rd stitch with our white. Then we are going to do 1, stop. And then we are going to insert the instructions for row 1 of our character or letter pattern. Now looking at our patterns here, we are going to notice, let me just get this out of the way. We are going to notice that this first row is 31 in our main color. So what we're going to do first is we are just going to single crochet 31 in our purple. So this one here. If you find yourself missing one like this, just go ahead and put the other loop on your hook and fix it, and it'll make your life a lot easier. So this would make 31, and we are going to finish off that loop with our next color, which is the set of both colors. So we are going to pull that through and then do 31 in this set of colors. Now we are going to put these two colors down and we are going to pick up our next color, which is going to be the main one of purple. And we are going to finish off that 31st stitch, but first we are going to check our tension. So we're going to pull on it, especially right there where the color change is, because that's where it's going to get thrown off the most. And then we are going to look at our next pattern and see what those instructions are. But here for this first row, if we go ahead and look at it, we are going to see that it is 31. So we are going to go ahead and single crochet 31 in our main color again. That makes 31. So now we are going to look at our instructions, and it says to do 1 single crochet in our white. So we are going to finish off that 31st stitch. Oops. We are going to fix that by backing up and then just redoing it all together. So we're just 1 in our white, go in, stop halfway, and then finish off this row with 3 in our mixed colors. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we are going to chain 2 and turn. Now we are on row 6. So what we are going to do is we are going to single crochet 3 with our set of both colors. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we are going to single crochet 1 with our set of white. Now we are going to insert the instructions for row 2 of our character or our letter, and we are going to just lock that in. And we are going to see here that we are on an even row, so this is the side that's going to be facing us. So what I want to do is I want to grab the one that we are going to be working with, and in this case this is actually the rose, and I need the letter because this is the side that is facing us and I want it on the bottom right hand corner. So I'm going to grab that A, and I am going to see the instructions for this row. So here we are going to do 6 single crochets in our main color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to put this down, pick up our white, and we are going to do 4 in our white. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to put the white down and pick up our main color, and then we are going to do 10 in this set. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now we're going to go ahead and check our tension and then see that we are doing 5 in our white. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now we're going to pick up our main color and we are going to do 6 in this color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we are going to pick up our mixed colors and we are going to do 31 across. So we are about to finish up that 31st stitch, so I'm going to grab our next pattern, which is the rose, and I'm going to see what those instructions say. So it says to do 7 in the main color, so we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we are going to do 2 in the white. So I'm going to pick up the white. If it will cooperate with me, oops. So 2, 1, 2, and then it says 22 in our main color. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, to finish up this last stitch, we are going to grab our white and then do our 1 in white, and then we are going to stop, put this down, and pick up our set of both colors. Then we are going to single crochet 3 in this set, so 1, 2, and 3. Then we are going to chain 2 and turn. So now you can tell that we are on an odd row because there are no tail ends here, and we are going to see what row 3 has for us. So now, whereas we were reading from right to left, we are going to be reading left to right. So now we are on row 7, which aligns with row 3 here on this pattern, and that is because row 7 is talking about the bottom up, whereas row 3 is talking about this pattern specifically, so where we enter them in here. And so that is what this all means, and that is why we have row 7 where we're inserting row 3 on this part. So here we're just going to do our 3 in our set of both colors, pick up the white, do our 1 here, so 1, and then we are going to put that down and pick up the main color, and we are going to do 20 in this color. So I will go ahead and do that. Okay, so before we finish this off, we are going to see how many we are going to be doing in the white, and that is 4 in the white. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're gonna stop halfway, pick this one up, and finish that one off with the next color, and then do 7 in the purple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now we are going to do 31 in our set of both colors. Finishing off that 31st stitch, we are going to go ahead and go in, stop halfway, and pick up our next color, which is the purple. So we are just going to finish that stitch off there, and then we are going to lock that in just for a second, and we are going to grab our next pattern, which is going to be the letter. So now we are on row 3 of the letter, and so it reads 5 in our main color. So we have 1 here. Oops. We'll fix this, and we will go ahead and single crochet 5 in this color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we are going to pick up our white, and we are going to single crochet 8 in the white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then we are going to do 7 in the main color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then we are going to do 6 in the white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we are going to finish off with 5 in our main color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there we are. Now we are going to pick up our white, do our frame stitch, and then we are going to finish off with 3 in our set of both colors. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we are going to chain 2 and turn. So as you can see, it is really simple. It's really just as easy as painting by colors. Now with whatever patterns you're using, you're just going to follow those instructions for the next 27 rows. And here on row 35, we are going to see the next change. So go ahead and follow your instructions to that point, and we will go over the next change together. Real quick, I wanted to go over a tip that I haven't mentioned before because I didn't even realize I was doing it until I started filming. But what I actually do as I'm working is I take these strands and I stabilize them with my middle finger in the back and my thumb in the front. So if you could see, I'm just here, I'm going to change colors real quick, but when I do, I kind of situate all of the strands together, and I'm putting them to the front and holding them with my thumb and my middle finger together. So it just stabilizes it throughout the entire project, and it really makes it easier to work with. So I hope that does help. Say you're ready to put this away for the night or for whatever reason, and you don't know how to leave it. How I usually do it is I will take my hook and I will just pull on this loop to create a larger loop, and that way if it does try to unravel, it won't get very far at all. And then I like to put this hook away. I do that because I have lost it a few times, and that is very heartbreaking. So I have learned that if I just put it away, it's easy to find and I know exactly where it's at when I need it. So there we go. I just do that and put it away. And then say I forget where I'm at when I come back. I don't remember where I'm at on the pattern. So what I would do is I would look at this and I would find the groups of 2 here. So I don't know if you could tell, but each group of 2 makes an indentation. So you could kind of tell 2, 4, 6, like it just makes this indentation here. And so what I would do is I would count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then I would know that this is row 8 on the pattern. And so what I would actually be on, since I would have to turn it, is I would be on row 9, which is an odd number. And the odd numbers look a little bit different on this side. So if you could see, these groups of 2 are a little bit different. So we have here 2, 4, 6, and then this one here doesn't make a group of 2, it's by itself. So that would be 1, and then I'd come down here and I'd count the other one that doesn't make a group, and that would be another 1. So how I would count this side would be just like this. So I'd do 2, 4, 6, 7, and then 8, and then I would know I'm going to be on row 9. And so I hope that helps. If you lose your place whenever you come back, or you just lose your place when you're counting, just know that there is an easy way to find that and you don't have to start over again. So say you are ready to replace a strand of yarn, like I am right now. I ran out of my purple that goes to this one right here. So I'm going to show you how to replace that skein. All you do is you grab your new skein of yarn and you place it in your bag and get it situated with its partner. Then you get these strands here. You can see this is the one that I just ran out of. And I'm going to find its pair. So I'm just going to situate all of this. This is its pair. Let me get those other strands off of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my new strand and I am going to just simply pair it with its other color to make this set again. And you can see I'm just pulling on it to make that end as long as I want it, but it's still just very lightly attached, I guess, but it's there. And so all we're gonna do is we are going to do a regular single crochet to catch both of those and then finish it off. And that's it. That's all you do to replace a skein and attach a new strand of yarn. It is that simple. So whenever you get to that point, that is all you have to do. And no, it's locked in there. It's not going to go anywhere. It's nice and secure, and you won't even know that that is where you had to replace your skein at. And then all you do is cut these tail ends off, and that's it. We are now on row 35, and I just did the 3 in the set of both colors. So I'm going to pick up the white and do 1 here. And now, instead of picking up this color, I'm going to go in with the set of both colors, and I'm going to do 31 here. Now we are going to put these colors down and we are going to pick up our white, because this is now going to be our background color. And then we are just going to lock this in place just for a second, and then we are going to grab our new character or letter, whatever you're using here. In this case, I am using this daisy. So I'm just going to grab it, and then I'm going to situate it to where I can see it. And so I'm just going to bring it a little closer. And then I'm going to place this piece of paper right on top so that I can see where I'm at. And as we can see, it's just 31 stitches across, so that is what I'm going to do. And now all we have to do is 31 stitches in our set of both colors. So now we are going to put that down. We are going to pick up our white, do our 1 single crochet in the white, and then we are going to pick up our set of both colors again and finish off with 3 single crochets in that color. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we are going to chain 2 and turn. Now we are on row 36, where we are going to do 3 single crochets in our set of both colors, 1 in our white, and then 31 in our set of both colors. Alright, so now we are going to pick up our white, and as you could tell, it got a little bit tangled up, so we are going to pull on it just to tighten it up, and then we are going to try and hide this into this stitch right here. That way you won't be able to see it. And then we are just going to come over here and look at our pattern and see how many stitches we need to do right now. So on row 2, we need 12 in our white this time, and then 2 in our purple and 17 in the white. So we are going to do the opposite of what we were doing on that first section. So we have 12 that we need to do. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And we're going to stop halfway. Do 2 in the purple. So put this down, pick up the purple, finish off the stitch with that color. So 1, 2, and then we are going to do 17 in the white. And then here we are just going to do 31 in our set of both colors, and then 1 in our white and 3 in the set of both colors to finish off this row, and then we will be back for row 37. So now we are on row 37, and I went ahead and did 3 in our set of both colors, 1 in the white, and then 31 in the set of both colors. And so now we are ready to insert the instructions for row 3 of our character or our letter. And so here we are reading from left to right. So it's 17 in the white, 1 in the purple, and then 13 in the white. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Then we are going to do our 1 in purple. So finish off that stitch with this color, 1, and then 13 in the white. And then you are going to follow exactly what we've been doing for the next 27 rows, and then we will go ahead and meet back up to go over the next change in the last section. Here we just finished row 64 of the blanket and row 30 of our daisy pattern, and so here's what it's all kind of looking like right now. And what we are going to do is we are going to start on row 65. So here on row 65 we are going to do our 3 single crochets in the set of both colors. So 1, 2, and 3, and then our 1 in the white. So I just have to situate it because I kind of put my blanket on top of it. So let me find the white here. And then we are going to do 1 in the white, and then we are going to put the purple in this place now instead of the set of both colors. So here we have the purple, and I'm just gonna kind of fix the mess that I made, and then I'm going to insert the instructions for the new character or letter that we are using, which is the rose, and in this case it is 31, so I am going to do 31 here. Okay, so I just ran into a little problem that I wanted to go ahead and fix on camera so that if you run into the same issue, you know how to fix it. But all of my strands of yarn are tangled up. Now, if I were to try and fix this right here by pulling everything forward, I will show you what will happen. So what you're gonna see is a white piece sticking out in the back. Now this is going to be a problem because nothing is supposed to be there. It's supposed to be purple, not white. So what we're going to do is we are going to leave it. We are not going to mess with it. We are going to continue on with this purple until we get to this part here where we will then be able to hide it in the stitches. Now that we have finished that first row in the purple, we are going to pick up our set of both colors and we are going to fix this twist right here. So I'm just going to single crochet a couple, and then we are going to grab the ends of these strands and we are going to walk them forward, tightening them up, and then we are going to hide that twist in these stitches here where it will not be noticeable. And then you are going to do the rest of the 31 stitches here in the set of both colors, and you will then insert the instructions for row 1 of your next letter or character, whatever you're using. I am using the rose again, so I will follow those instructions there. Okay, so I just finished row 65 and I am starting in on row 66 where I will be inserting the instructions for row 2 of the character or letter pattern that I am using. So this is what you would do for the character letter that you are using. Now I am going to continue this on for the next 29 rows and then meet you on row 95 where we will be finishing up the frame and then working on the border. We are now on row 95 where we have finished using our characters and letters, and now we are going to work on this part of the frame on the top. So we are going to single crochet 3 stitches with our set of both colors, and then we are going to do 95 in the set of white. Then to finish out this row, we are going to do another 3 in the set of both colors, and we will be done with row 95. So now we are going to take our set of both colors, and for rows 96 through 98 we are going to single crochet 101 stitches to match this part right here. And then we will go ahead and do our border. I just got to row 97 and there was something that I wanted to point out. So the set that I am using, which is the set of both colors, is freed from the other two sets of yarn. Now, if you look at these two sets, they are twisted up, and I am going to leave them how they are. I am not going to try and detangle them because I'm not going to be switching colors again. So it is okay if you leave them like this on this part, because there is really no need to try and keep them separated. Now, if you are going to be using a different color for your border, then it is going to be a little different. You are going to want to try and keep these separated so that you can easily get to the next color. But if not, then like I said, it is completely fine to leave it this way. So we just finished row 98, which is the rest of the frame. And now we are on the border. So we are going to chain 2 and turn. And then what we are going to do is we are going to put 3 single crochets into this first corner stitch here. And what this is going to do is it's going to make a really nice corner. 1, 2, and 3. Now we are going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across until we get to that next corner stitch where we will put 4 single crochets in it. Here we are at the end of this first part of the border, where we are going to finish our last couple stitches and then put 4 single crochets in this corner stitch right here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oops, 4. This is going to make a really sharp corner, whereas using only 3 here kind of rounds it out a little bit, so that's why I prefer to use the 4. So now we are on the side of the border, and this part can look a little bit intimidating because of the way it's laid out. There isn't a real clear stitch to go into. So what I like to do is I like to find a row and then just put a stitch into it. So just like this. So I find the next row and then just put a stitch in it. And then find the next row and put a stitch in it. And so this is what I would follow all the way down. And it really does make it a lot easier when you are looking for each row to go into. And then what it ends up doing is it gives it a nice straight edge, a nice clear edge, as opposed to this where it looks kind of unfinished and pretty knotty. Here we are at the end of this first side, and we are going to put 4 single crochets in this corner stitch right here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here we have our beginning tail ends that we are officially ready to hide in our work. So what we are going to do is we are going to put 1 single crochet in each of these holes. So this is actually the beginning chain, and though it doesn't make a clear stitch, it does make a clear hole to put your stitch into. So you will just follow those all the way across, and I will meet you on the other side. Here we are at the end of the bottom part of the border, and we are going to put 4 single crochets in this corner stitch right here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we are going to do the exact same thing that we did on the other side by finding each row and putting a stitch in the end of it. So find your next row and then put a stitch in it. And we are going to do this all the way across until we get to the other side. I just wanted to point out that as you're working on the border, your tension can become tighter than normal. And so it's important to be tugging at your work as you're going around the border to just make sure that it's all laying flat and not getting scrunched up on you. As we are coming up to our final stitches in this border and in the blanket in total, I just ran out of the purple. So instead of adding a whole nother skein to this, I am just going to take this one here and finish off with what I already have. Now, doing this, especially at this point in the blanket, is not going to cause any drastic change in your weight of the blanket or anything like that. You are not even going to be able to tell the difference. So if this is something that you run into as well, do not be afraid to do this because it is not going to make a difference at all. So here we are at that first corner that we started with. So all we are going to do is add 1 single crochet to this corner to complete our 4, and then we are going to slip stitch to join. Now we have this really nice corner here, and all that is left to do is to cut off the ends, finish off this knot, and then sew in those ends. So now we are going to take our tapestry needle and we are just going to sew in these ends so that our work doesn't unravel. And we'll go ahead and pull on it and make it look real nice. Then we'll go back just for good measure. And then one more time, because why not? And then we are going to make sure that everything is laying exactly how we want it, and then we are going to clip these ends off here. And then we are just going to sew these pieces in, and we don't have to worry about getting crazy or anything because we are not worried about these unraveling. We just want to put them away and get them in there. And there you have it. All we have to do is clip off these ends here and you